Welcome to a new episode of the Opening Bid Unfiltered podcast. I'm Yahoo Finance Executive Editor Brian Sozzi. Like I always say, this is a podcast that will make you a much smarter investor, period. And we're going to lean into all things technology in this episode. Very excited to welcome on our next guest, our featured guest for this episode, Jay Chaudry, founder and CEO of Zscaler. Jay, it's been a while. Good to see you as always. I go into Yahoo Finance and I see your company has a market cap of $43 billion. And I still think folks don't necessarily know precisely what Zscaler is outside of your industry. For those not familiar with Zscaler, help us explain this giant company in the limited time that we have.
Yeah. Brian, thank you for the opportunity. We are the pioneers of zero trust security. When you say zero trust, means no trust. But how do you communicate if there's no trust? Which really means we give you this little trust to talk to a given party, period. I'll give you a simple metaphor. If you want to talk to someone, in old days, you had this phone switchboard system. You said, I want to talk to John. You got connected to John. And now you say, I want to talk to the president of the US. They say, sorry, you're not allowed to. And the switchboard hangs up on you. You are connected to a party, a certain party only. So a user in a company is given access to Salesforce or SAP or Workday, nothing else. In the old world, you were allowed to get in the building and you could go anywhere. That's dangerous. In our world, we take you to a meeting room, your meeting happens, we walk you out. That's a totally new but very simple technology. It's the opposite of how security has been done with firewalls and VPNs. That's why our customers are excited to embrace zero trust security.
I hope I have this right. I don't think I've asked you this before because our time is usually so limited on these live segments, but did you start this company with your wife?
Yes, my wife has done all 5 companies with me. All 5 startups I did. Okay.
How have you managed that? I mean, you do not hear that story very often.
It can work well or it doesn't work well.
That's
my wife and I are aligned well. She has a complementary skill set. She's an MBA in finance and information systems, so she could figure out how to do all the HR, finance, starting a company, all this stuff. And I'm focused on go-to-market and building technology. So it has worked very well. But I am there out to build and grow. She essentially does it to get us going. And after 2, 3, 4 years, she moves out. And then we bring in CFO and CHRO and all that in.
That's a great relationship to have. Jay, but why 5 companies? I only know you from Zscaler. Where is that passion to create companies? Where does that come from?
So the first company I did was by accident. I don't have DNA of entrepreneurship in my family of small-scale farmers. Sometimes I wonder if my life is real or I'm simply dreaming, because I was born and raised in a tiny village in the foothills of the Himalayas in northern India. We got electricity after I finished my 8th grade. We got running water after I finished my 10th grade. I just happened to love study, so I was studying all the time. So I got into IITs, did engineering, and like many students, came to the US to do my master's and did electrical engineering here, computer science, and got into software development, then moved to the business world with IBM. And I got inspiration to do secure IT from Mark Andreessen. If you recall, he had built this company called Netscape in 96.
I remember. Wow.
It had gone public. And I felt that this browser-based access to internet is so wonderful. Business will take off. If it did, security will become an issue because everything connects to everything. So I said, internet security will be needed. And then I said, if this young kid who had just graduated from UIUC, Urbana-Champaign, if he could do a startup, why shouldn't I do a startup? That was the crazy idea that got me into the startup world, and it has been a fun journey.
What have you learned about people in business having created 5 companies?
Especially about startups. What I learned is if you want to do startup to get rich quick, you will be disappointed. If you do it because of passion, you enjoy doing it, it's a wonderful challenge, you take it. To solve some of the hardest problem, it becomes a fun journey. So when I do my companies, I look for people who are passionate or driven, who want to make a difference. And that makes things successful.
What has it been about Zscaler that you have stayed here and you're continuing to scale up this company?
So the first company was done because I got excited about security. And then what happened was that company, Secure IT, it took off pretty quickly, became pretty successful, got acquired by VeriSign. Then the stock went to the roof, and I had failed to raise VC funding. So I essentially owned most of it, except my employees had about 20% of it. And the most exciting thing for me was when it went public, 70 of my 80 employees are millionaires with the stock options. So, wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
And startups are supposed to be hard. The Secure IT was relatively easier. It happened fairly fast, fairly well. And I said, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe I need to do it again to prove that it can be done. So this time, I didn't go to any VC. I had enough financials to go, and I started 3 companies because I could. But I did it like having kids. You stagger them a year or 2 apart. Good luck, good timing, great teams. They all became successful and eventually got acquired by large companies. And that's what took me to Zscaler, because I had no interest in doing one more startup and selling it. I wanted to do something big, something lasting. And I said, where could the world be in 15, 20, 25 years? Even in 2008, when I started this company, we were using internet heavily. Salesforce, NetSuite were coming up on the scene. They were easy to use. AWS had just launched Compute as a Service. Apple had launched an iPhone with a big screen. I said, in this new world, there's no place for firewalls and VPNs. Where are you going to build all those modes? Let's flip this thing on its head. Let's not build a firewall. Let's build a switchboard and exchange that connects only right party to right party. So Zscaler was started to be a lasting company. This time I got inspiration from Mark Benioff. I've been using Salesforce since 2001 in all of my startups. And at that time, Salesforce was under $10 million in annual sales. Okay. I loved it. I believed that more applications will become SaaS applications. So this was started as a dream to build a lasting company, and I'm following the dream.
Well, it's just an amazing story. Do you attribute how you grew up as having driven you to create 5 companies and take Zscaler? Like, is there just something inside of you that just says, I got to keep pushing through?
So the biggest thing I learned from my parents were small-scale farmers was honesty, integrity, and hard work. I mean, that's what they did in a small village. And I have had a drive to learn and really learn everything I could in the world. And that's what led me to read about the new companies, new innovations. And I think some of this stuff can be addictive. Okay.
I know the feeling.
You build success, you get to the next mountain, and next mountain, and next mountain. Human beings are driven to have challenge and goal. You achieve them. Then as my wife talks to me, she said, you keep on changing the goalpost. Okay. I said, of course, that's supposed to be the name of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we are today about $3 billion in ARR, and we can touch 5 billion, and our goal is set up to be 10 billion. Now, ARR is just a number. The real thing is, when I see all these global 2,000 companies depending upon Zscaler to keep them safe, when they do all this business online, there's nothing more satisfying than that.
Are you one of those founders, Jay, that just has no plans to retire? You're just in it, you enjoy what you're doing, and that's great.
I'm not sure what will I do if I retire. Okay. I can go to the beach. I'm bored after a couple of hours. I love nature and mountains. So I can go to those mountains for a couple of weeks and have fun, chilling and relaxing. Then you say, no, what? There's the urge to do something.
Well, you start another company, Jay. You start company 6.
No. What I learned after doing 4 startups is the following. Doing companies in parallel is a lot of work. I used to think that I start a company, take it to a certain stage, pass it on to a CEO, then move on to the next company. It doesn't work that way, okay? You need constant help. So when I started Zscaler, I said I will be 200% focused on it. You don't see me sitting on 5 boards out there. You don't see me investing in 5 other companies out there. There's a 200% focus. I'm about focus. If you want to do something, you just double down, triple down, and the magic happens. So I have no plan for retirement. I'm having too much fun.
All right, hang there, Jay. We're going to come right back after this very short break. We'll be right back on Opening Bid Unfiltered. All right, welcome back to Opening Bid Unfiltered here at the NASDAQ in Times Square. I'm having a really fun chat here with Jay Chaudry, founder and CEO of Zscaler. Jay, I want to talk a little bit about the business because we are in a transformational moment with AI. How does this AI explosion from agents to robots, how does this impact what you do at Zscaler, and how do you see this AI moment playing out?
So AI is probably the biggest transformation since Industrial Revolution. It's much bigger than internet. It's much bigger than mobile technology, though it builds on all of that. So applications to be built, but there's a big implication on security. And that's what our focus. Here's the biggest problem to solve. AI started out with Gen AI, but it's soon evolving into agentic AI, where agents will do tasks on your behalf. Agents are somewhat like people. Which agent can talk to which agent? Which agent can get which information? The challenge of cybersecurity and data protection becomes 10x bigger. That's the problem we are focused on. If you think about what we do today, there's some 50 to 55 million users that go through our Zero Trust Exchange, our switchboard, to really access applications and services. And we can extend the same technology for secure agentic communication. The number of technology pieces that are being built, we have built a number of them, but we believe we are well positioned to secure communication of agents with applications and agents with each other. That's the hardest problem that has to be solved.
It sure seems like the rollout of agents, it's only gaining steam. Are you concerned about the pace of the rollout of these agents, and how might that create new security risks we're not even thinking about today?
Actually, there's more talk and hype about agents rolling out than in the real world. Most customers are doing some level of AI applications, AI models. Agents are in a little bit, it's infancy state, but it is moving at a pretty rapid pace. Our goal is to have the technology ready so our enterprise customers can start using it. So we always work with customers that design partners so we can see the real world use of it, and that work is going on quite well.
Are companies, are they less safe now because of AI?
This question get asked all the time, and the question related is, are bad guys taking advantage of AI at a faster pace than enterprises? Sure, bad guys are picking up pace. It's becoming much easier to attack a company. You can ask ChatGPT or Gemini and say, tell me all the firewalls and VPN systems of this corporation that have vulnerabilities that could be attacked. It took weeks and weeks to get that answer. Now you can get that answer in under a minute. It's easier. But companies like Zscaler are also using Gen AI and machine learning to figure out all the bad stuff bad guys are trying to do. So we aren't behind those guys. If there's a concern I have, is the following. Hackers have no inertia. enterprises have inertia. The bigger enterprises, the longer they take. So one of my message to CIOs and CISOs out there is, you as leaders need to shake off inertia and push your teams to embrace newer AI security technologies. Then keep on sitting behind those virtual firewalls in the cloud, virtual VPNs in the cloud, because to fight AI, you must fight it with AI, and that's really what we are driving.
You know, for so many years, I've watched the security industry, I mean, it's explode. And one thing that always gets talked about is risks to critical infrastructure in this country for when the hackers attack a water system or even the financial system. Does that still worry you? And are those risks increasing?
So you mentioned two areas. Financial systems, those companies had taken lots of steps. The security is much better in financial systems. Some of the largest banks, some of the largest insurance companies in the world have embraced zero trust technology, and we are working very closely with them. The infrastructure, as related to water system, electric grids and the like, they're so distributed, they're so far out there. The risk is much bigger in that area. The colonial pipeline thing can happen fairly easily. So I do worry about that. We're working with many of the public sector entities to secure them, but we should step up. Probably our country could do a little bit more push and incentive for our infrastructure, which has some significant risk because they still depend upon old technology. Old technology was good when everything was under your control. So you could build a moat with firewalls and no one could get in. Now, since systems are everywhere, you can build a moat. So firewall-based security is the number one concern our customers have, because once you get in, you move laterally, you find high-value assets, you infect them, you encrypt them, you ask for money. Too much ransomware stuff is happening out there.
Jay, your company puts out an annual report. It's called the Annual Threat Labs Report. And one line stood out to me on this one, the latest one. The ransomware attacks are intensifying, quote, at an alarming rate. Where are these attacks coming from, country-wise?
So they come from all over. Obviously, some of the adversaries from Eastern Europe and China are a big source, but they also go beyond that too. But many of these people are also sitting in the US. Ransomware is all about money. Lots of people want easy money. So they come and they find the easy way to get in. It's unfortunate, but what we find is customers with zero trust security are safer than customers who are still dependent upon old castle and moat firewall-based architecture. And as a part of our mission, that's what we're advocating customers to move off and do better security.
In the last couple of minutes of our podcast, Jay, we always love to get a hot take from our guest. Nothing planned, so I'll just come at you with this one. You are an expert, obviously, in security. Is the blockchain as secure as people are led to believe?
Yes, blockchain is quite secure, but then the question is who controls it, who runs it? There are known technology issues that need to be dealt with blockchain than the technology issues. Because different parties, countries, governments, they all want to control and know. That's the problem.
Then is crypto safe?
See, technologies can be safe. The system around it makes them safe or unsafe. And the multiple parties who have vested interest in benefiting from side A or side B and side B or C. Those are the issues that need to be sorted out. Now, crypto, what do countries want? Do they want crypto to take over or not take over? How does the government want to control all of that stuff? Are bigger factors in it than the technology factors.
All right, we're going to leave it there. But Jay, I've told you this before. I think I have one of the most fascinating stories in tech. It's been real fun following your story and seeing all the great work you're doing over there at Zscaler. Jay Chaudry, founder and CEO of Zscaler. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Brian, thank you. I always enjoy our conversation.
Appreciate it. All right, that's it for the latest episode of Opening Bid Unfiltered. Of course, continue to hit us with all those likes on the podcast platforms. Love your feedback. And also give me your thoughts at Brian Sozzi on X. I always try to answer everyone's questions, or even at Brian Sozzi on LinkedIn. Love all the feedback. It makes me better at doing these interviews moving forward. We'll talk to you soon.